Well, Scorpion class submarine. This is the real one-to-one scale Scorpion class submarine. Didn't see you guys there. Anyways, this is gonna be a war machine infographic of the Lapu class light aircraft carrier. And I tell you what, there's lots of change on it. Oh, and yeah, that is real. This is the real one-to-one scale of the Scorpion class attack submarine. Yeah, that one is kind of too big to be one-to-one scale. So yeah, actually that is the light aircraft carrier right there. So yeah, let's go. So we're gonna immediately head to it. Okay, so of course the BRP Datu Lapu-Lapu's lcvn 1 is the large ship of her class of the Philippine Navy's aircraft carriers, the very first aircraft carriers of the Philippines, in fact, in the universe, on this universe that I've created, of course. This ship is the ship is named after the national hero of the Philippines, that is Datu Lapu-Lapu, a tribal chief of Mactan that led the defense of Mactan against the Spanish invaders back then. I don't know what year. Anyways, the Lapu-Lapu class light aircraft carrier is currently being constructed for the Philippine Navy. The class with a plan of total five ships will be the first aircraft carrier of the Philippine Navy. The new vessel is based on the hull of the Izumo class helicopter destroyer, but introduced technology since developed for the lcvnx program. For example, the new technologies put in here is the new flight deck arrangement, which is you can see that increases sortie generation rate, also utilizing first gen locally developed nuclear power plants. Is developed by, of course, the DOST and Department of Science and Technology and cooperation with BENCO, and also including sailing with the smaller crew compared to other light aircraft carriers. The first ship of the class, BRP Datu Lapu-Lapu lcvn 1, was procured in 2048 and commissioned into service in July 22, 2050. Yep, we're in the future. Keep it in mind. And an alternative universe. Anyways, the second ship of the class, BRP Sultan Kudarat lcvn 2, is expected to be commissioned into service in 2053. So we're gonna go over its development after the Aefp, that means Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Program, was done. The program that bolstered the Aefp. In fact, the insurgency problem in the Philippines was not over yet. So in May 2, 2034, the President of the Philippines, which is not mentioned, publicly announced the lcvnx program will start the next day. That will be handled by D&D, of course. The D&D was in charge in improving the whole design of the Izumo class helicopter destroyer that was received during Japan's investment and to improve the defense industry of the Philippines in 2022. That's actually real. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, in June 5, 2036, Iluko Shipbuilding Cooperative is announced to be the company that will build the first ship of the class, which is BRP Dato Lapu-Lapu, and the following ships. So we're gonna go over its general characteristics. It is a light aircraft carrier, displacement of about 19,800 long tons standard. We have a 30,000 long tons full loaded. Displacement, that's a displacement. We have a length of 200 meters, beam of 51 meters in the flight deck. You have 20 meters on the water line, which is there. Unlike the other ones where I rushed, of course, you guys obviously saw this one if you've been a long subscriber of this channel. Yeah, it of course have a propulsion of 2 large shaft propellers and two smaller shafts, and have an excess of 30 knots of speed. It have a range that is only limited by food supply. We have an endurance of 55 years in service. It have a complement of 950, not including airing. And we have its sensors and processing systems. It have the OAX3 EOIR. It have the OQQ11 mine hunting sonar. We have the OYX1229 console display system. It have electronic warfare and decoys of an NOLQ3E passive radar system plus electronic attack capabilities integrated into the main radar antenna, which is this thing, which is obviously inspired by the antenna of the Mogami class, frigate of the JMF SDF. And yeah, it also has some chaff dispensers, anti-torpedo mobile decoys, MOD, and floating acoustic jammers. It have a AN Spy 3 multifunction radar, MFR, X-band active electronically scanned array. We have a combat management system of Naval Shield Base 3 integrated CMS. It have an Aefp, which is friend or foe identification system of MSR 3000I by Hensoldt. Secondary radar of OPY5, but X-band multipurpose EESA radar. Armament of 2 RIM RIM 116 RAM, which is the thing that you just saw in the front, which are these things. The guns, it also have a Bohawi remote control weapon station with a 30mm machine gun. Aircraft carried, it is unspecified, or maybe it's still classified what the total aircraft is that it can carry, but it have a EQ 180, which is a RQ 180, but modified for electronic warfare jamming specifically. It have an MQ-8A Fire Scout. It have an F-35D, which doesn't exist in real life, of course, but just imagine a combination of the F-35 C and B. Yeah, it also have a NH-90, which is a utility helicopter and an anti-submarine helicopter at the same time. Yep. We also have some drones here, and we have some Evolved Sea Sparrow missile on these vertical launch cells. Yeah. So we have an aviation facility of 1,200 square meter of a flight deck. Undersea facilities of a 272 square meter wheel deck. It carries 4 UUVs, which is a unmanned underwater vehicle. So we're gonna go over a class overview. Of course, the name of the class is Lapu-Lapu class light nuclear aircraft carrier. Builders is of course Iloco Shipbuilding Corporation. Operators, of course, Philippine Navy. It's not preceded by anything because, of course, as I said, this is the very first aircraft carrier of the Philippine Navy. It have a program cost of 54.3 billion pesos. It have a unit cost of a 10.98 billion pesos, Philippine pesos, in service in 2050 until present. There is 5 plant as mentioned. On order 2, building 1, completed 2, and 1 inactive. So we're gonna go over its involvement. And I'm gonna let the text-to-speech take over.
Involvement. In March 12, 2051, BRP Datu Lapu-Lapu was involved in Operation Alice, Remove, an operation to get rid of the insurgents in the Philippines. On the said date, BRP Datu Lapu-Lapu sailed from Navy Base Baconawa to an undisclosed location near the Cordillera Administrative Region, CAR. It is suspected that in this region is the last hiding place of the last insurgents group. It is here where BRP Datu Lapu-Lapu sorted 2 of its RQ-180 for reconnaissance, all of its F-35D and all of its NH-90 Helo. That accommodated the Navy SEAL of the PN, Philippines Navy, to attack the undisclosed headquarters of the NPA, New People's Army, which is a communist rebel group. This event with the involvement of the Philippines Army Special Forces caused the downfall of the last insurgents group in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's it. And as I said, the RQ-180 is not actually what's in, it's actually EQ-180. As I said, it is modified RQ-180 for electronic warfare. And
2,000 years later.
Oh, and yeah, the NPA, New People's Army, it is a real rebel group, but I'm not actually sure if it's a communist rebel group. I'm not sure about that, but anyways, yeah, that is it. So yeah, if you like this, just like, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified on the next video.